Hello and welcome back to another Dare to Game video. Today we're playing Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and we're doing another one of our end game guides. So this is the guide series that I'm doing because now the entire game is out, all the DLCs are done, so there shouldn't be any updates. So these rankings that I'm doing should be perfectly accurate for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 from now until the end of time. So we already did one in the series, which was for long swords. Now we're doing short swords or one-handed swords. So it's going to follow the same basic process. I've got a top 10 and then I've got, which I'll look at fairly in-depth, and then we have 5 honorable mentions, so it'll be ranked 15 to 1, 15 being the lowest of these, 1 being the best. That being said, I've identified at least 29 one-handed swords in this game, not including, like, no repeats for different levels or anything, 29 unique ones. So the top 15 is significant, but like I said, we're going to be really mostly looking at that top 10, and I will go through all the stats, we'll take a close look at them, but I'm not going to go, like, it's not a fine guide, I'm not going to go across the entire map and show you everything. I'll tell you, or explain how to get these items or how to learn how to make them, but this isn't a find guide, okay? So I don't want to hear a bunch of comments like, oh, you could have showed us where it was. I love that. That's my favorite comment. In fact, I take it back. I want everyone to comment that. But with all that being said, let's just dive on into the honorable mentions to start it off. Okay, and you can see these 5 swords in our inventory here. These are numbers 15 through 11, so the number 15 one is the Common Sabre. You can see that we have it at level 4, so this is one that you would be able to craft. So if you want to get your hands on this one, all you have to do is get the crafting schematic. And from now until the end of the video, anytime I say that, if you need a crafting schematic and it's not specifically linked to a quest, I have a video on the channel showing where to find each weapon crafting schematic. So you don't need to ask in the comments where to find it. You can just check out that video and I have it in there. But with that being said, the Common Sabre has a total damage of 228, so it is fairly good. It's better than a lot of the weapons in the game. Like I said, there are almost 30 one-handed swords, and this one comes in at number 15, so there are 15 one-handed swords that are worse than this, and plenty of other weapons that are also. But yeah, at level 4 crafted, this one has a total damage of 228. After that comes Lord von Bergow's sword. This one is level 3 because you can't craft this one, you have to find it. This one has a total damage of 243, so it's a significant step above the Common Sabre. If you want to get your hands on this one, you have to do it during the mission where you're taking Malashov Castle. It's very specific. There are guides on YouTube. I've never made one, but there are guides on YouTube that you can find for how to get your hands on this. Basically, you have to duel von Bergow and disarm him, and that is the only opportunity you ever have in the game to get this sword. But that's level 3, and like I said, total damage on that is 243. The third honorable mention is the Rikonaris Sabre. This one would be the one that came in at number 13. This one is a quest item from early in the game when you're in the Trotsky region. You have to make this one for one of the traveling nomads for a mission in there. If you want to keep it at level 4, you have to craft it all the way up to level 4, which is hard early game, but save before you craft it, but you only get one opportunity to craft this one. And if you want to keep it at level 4, you have to either just fail the quest, or I don't remember if there was a text option to not give it to the Voivode's wife at the end of that mission, but either way, you cannot give the saber over. If you do and then steal it back, it's going to be level 3, but at level 4, it has a total damage stat of 254. And again, the quest that you do to get your hands on this one is the Voivode's Curse quest, like I said, in the Trust. The one that would have come at number 14 is Peter of Suchotlesky's sword. This one, again, is a quest-related item. It's a quest reward, so it cannot be crafted. Therefore, the best you can get it at is level 3. This one has a total damage of 256, and the quest you're going to want to be looking for is the Ransom quest. Once you get to the end of that quest, this sword is a quest reward that you will get for successfully completing the Ransom quest. And finally, the number 11 one, the last runner-up that we're looking at, is the level 4 variant of the Broadsword. This is one that you can craft, so all you have to do is get your hands on the crafting schematic for this one and then craft it to your heart's content until you get it to level 4. Once you do, this one has a total damage of 256, so it's the same as Peter of Suchotlesky's sword, but of course, this one, I guess, fairly easy to get. So yeah, that one is the number 11, or the final runner-up. Now let's move on to the top 10. At number 10, we have the Knight's Sword. This one is one that you should be able to craft, but for whatever reason, whenever I read the crafting schematic on my game, doesn't matter which save it is, it never actually unlocks it for me to be able to craft it, so I only have a level 3 variant. I assume a level 4 variant would be even even better. But at level 3, it comes in at number 10, and it has a total damage of 261. So whether you can craft it or not, it's a fairly common weapon. You can buy it at various swordsmiths, and obviously find it on plenty of enemies, so it is not hard to get your hands on. It's as an older form of a knight's sword, slightly heavier at the tip, therefore best suited for fighting slower, heavily armored foes. It has a piercing damage of 110, slash damage of 116, blunt damage of 35, defense of 225, durability of 238, and a weight of 3.2 pounds. This one is nothing super fancy, but considering it's very easy to find a level 3 variant of this one, the fact that it's the 10th best short sword in the game is pretty impressive. So that's number 10, the Knight's Sword. At number 9, we have Boleslav Bavor's Reforged Sword at level 4. This one says a Crusader's knightly sword with which Boleslav Bavor traveled the Holy Land. I fitted it with a new blade so that it may continue to serve just causes for another decade. This one has a piercing damage of 111, slash damage of 117, blunt damage of 35, defense of 225, durability of 193, and a weight of 3.2 pounds. And this one has a total damage of 263, so just a little bit better than the Knight's Sword. This one is one that you have to craft, but keep in mind, here's a couple things. A, it is part of the Mysteria Ecclesiae DLC, the last DLC that they released. So to get your hands on this one, you have to complete that DLC, and part of that DLC is a investigation mission where you're finding Boleslav Bavor's tomb, and you can retrieve the sword from his tomb. After that, once the sword is broken, you can use the broken sword to reforge it into Boleslav Bavor's Reforged Sword. And then you're going to want to make sure you get it to level 4 because you do only get one shot at that. So with that being said, fairly solid weapon. I like the way it looks. It's a little bit shorter than a lot of them, but it's got a big wide blade and it says Deus Vult. It's really cool. But that is the one that comes in at number 9. Let's move on to number 8. At number 8, we have the Owl's Claw Sabre. This one has a total damage of 266, so just a couple points better than Boleslav Bavor's Reforged. This one is just level 3 because it's a quest reward. You can get your hands on this one through doing the Friendly Bout quest line as part of the Legacy of the Forge DLC. You'll have a bunch of Radiant missions where you duel people in this quest line, but there are 3 distinct missions with a guy named George the Night Owl, who you will duel 3 times, and at the end of that, he will give you this saber. So it says, a beautiful saber that belonged to a knight named George called Owl. You're unlikely to find another quite like it. It has a piercing damage of 104, slash damage of 130, blunt damage of 32, defense of 275, durability of 230, and a weight of 2.5 pounds. It is just a unique version of the sabers that already existed in the game, but it has solid stats, and of course, it's cool to have a distinct named weapon. So yes, that is the Owl's Claw Sabre, like I said, part of the Legacy of the Forge deal. But that's the one that comes in at number 8. Let's move on to number 7. At number 7, we have the level 4 variant of the Basilard or Basilard. So this one needs to be crafted, obviously, and as a weapon that is crafted, all you have to do is get your hands on the schematic, which is easy to find. Again, reference that video I made. And then you just craft it until you get a level 4 variant. It says a short sword that is said to have been given its special name because of its origin. Whether it really originated in the Swiss city of Basel is questionable, but it is certainly a great weapon that can be carried, unlike the sword, even by low-born towns. This one has a piercing damage of 122, slash damage of 128, blunt damage of 19, defense of 209, durability of 114, and a weight of 1.9 pounds. So it's a very solid weapon, and of course if you're trying to roleplay as a non-noble Henry who never uses a sword that he's not technically allowed to use, this is one of the better options. Plus it has a really unique look, so I've always kind of liked the way it. But stat-wise, the Basilard has a total damage of 69. And like I said, you do have to craft it if you want the level 4 variant. But that's number 7. Let's go ahead and move on to number 6. At number 6, we have the Ataman Sabre. This one has a total damage of 271, so another decent step above the Basilard. We're just moving up a couple points each time. This one is a crafted weapon, so you can see we have it at level 4. Again, there are no limits to how many times you can craft it. You just have to find the schematic and then do it as many times as it takes. You can see it looks the same as the Owl's Claw Sabre. That's because visually speaking, they're the same weapon. It says, an unusual curved blade used by nomads on fast horses in the Hungarian steppes and remote Arabian desert. This swift weapon excels at offense and defense alike. Every good Christian should beware of losing his head to such a weapon. Has a piercing damage of 110, slash damage of 137, blunt damage of 34, defense of 242, durability of 210, and a weight of 2 pounds. So the Ataman Sabre is a lot of people's favorite weapon, and like I said, it does technically take the number 6 spot overall for short sword. But that's number 6. Let's move on to number 5. At number 5, we've got another saber style weapon, but this one's a lot more unique and cool, and it it is the Lion's Roar Colleague. This one is has a total damage of 281, and it is a crafted weapon, so you can see we have it at level 4. This one you will get as a radiant reward from the Sinners of Kuttenberg quest, and that is part of the Legacy of the Forge DLC. So while you have Legacy of the Forge and you're playing it, the Sinners of Kuttenberg, it's another quest chain, and as you get through that one, it might not actually be radiant. This one might be the one you get for completing the quest line, and then you get the schematic as a reward. But that is the quest line you have to do. I have a video showing that quest line on my channel, so either way, you can get your answer there and learn how to do the quest. But this one says a single-edged Turkish blade resembling a saber, but thanks to its widened tip, it strikes with far more force. The pommel bears the image of Aslan, the lion symbol of ancient king, for only they were said to have brought him down. This Kalij seems fit for one of the cursed captains of heathen knight. It says piercing damage of 110, slash damage of 137, blunt damage of 34, defense of 242, durability of 210, and a weight of 2.8 pounds. So like I said, I prefer this one, so if I'm playing with a saber type weapon, if for whatever reason I'm doing it, the Lion's Roar Colleague is definitely my first choice. But yeah, that one is the one that comes in at number 5, so let's move on to number 4. At number 4, we've got another one that's just a crafted weapon. It's the Noble Sword at level 4. This one has a total damage of 283, so it's just a couple points better than the Lion's Roar Colleague. This one, once again, all you gotta do is get your hands on the schematic and then craft, go until you get a level 4. It says a sword for the noble and those who think they can pass themselves off as such. Its beauty slightly exceeds its combat qualities, but it is still a superb weapon. Piercing damage of 128, slash damage of 135, blunt damage of 20, defense of 225, durability of 60, and a weight of 2 pounds. So this one is one of the ones that the unique variants of short swords like Lord von Bergow's. It's virtually, or visually I should say, the same as the Noble Sword. So it's quite a fancy weapon appearance-wise, and stat-wise, it's very solid, as should be evidenced by the fact that it took the number 4 spot for best short swords in the game. But yeah, like I said, if you want to get the level 4 variant, just get the schematic and craft it up. That's number 4. At number 3, we've got probably my favorite short sword overall in the entire game, and that is St. George's Sword at level 4. Once again, this is a crafted one, but this one does require you to have the Legacy of the Forge DLC. This one is or I should say the crafting schematic for the sword is a quest reward that you can get during in the service of the guild quest chain. So those ones are going to see you going and hunting down a bunch of bandit camps and all that sort of stuff. And in one of those missions, and it's radiant, so it's not missable, you'll eventually find schematic again if you miss it the first time, but you will eventually find the schematic for St. George's Sword, and once you've read that, and craft it. And then all you got to do is craft it up to level 4, and bing bang boom, you've got it here. Total damage on this one is 285, so just a couple points better than the Noble Sword. This weapon comes from your own forge. The blade bears an inscription inlaid in red gold. The crossguard and pommel are decorated with flames and a severed dragon's head, evoking the victory of St. George, patron of all knights over the dragon. Has a piercing damage of 129, slash damage of 136, blunt damage of 20, defense of 278, durability of 110, and a weight of 2.8 pounds. So like I said, I am a big fan of this one. I think it looks awesome and stats are fantastic. Plus, it's cool to have St. George's Sword again. I was a big fan of running that back in the first Kingdom Come Deliverance game, and even though it's not a longsword this time, I still like it in the second. But that is the one that comes in at number 3. Let's move on to number 2. At number 2, we've got a unique variant of the Noble Sword. This one is called Opportunity. This one is only at level 3 because it is not craftable. This one is actually one that you can take off of Brabant during the Reckoning quest, which is one of the final main story missions. I won't spoil how or what or why you do that, but you can get this sword by doing that, and it shouldn't be slept on. I never realized how good it was until I was working on this video just now, because, well, I mean, we'll get to that. So it says, the sword worn by Vachelin Brabant, he sought opportunities all his life, but the window for him has closed for good. Piercing damage of 95, slash damage of 95, and blunt damage of 95. Defense of 145, durability of 144, and weight of 2 points. So I never really gave this one a whole lot of thought. I always just thought, oh, it's a worse version of the Noble Sword, so I never really used it. Until I figured out that it's got equal damage across. So piercing and slash damage are 95. That's not crazy. What's crazy is the 95 blunt damage. So not only does it bring our overall damage output up very high with this sword, but also it's really good at breaking blocks and wearing down enemy stamina. because it's kind of like hitting them with a long, sharp mace. So the opportunity is actually one of the best weapons in the game, and I never realized that until making this video. But after I found that, I saw that it was 95, I was like, I gotta test to make sure that's not a bug. No, it does. It hits like a mace. So it's a really good weapon. But yeah, that's number 2. Opportunity. Let's move on to our number 1 best one at number 1. And it should be no surprise that the number 1 spot goes to the level 4 crafted variant of the Sword of Sir Valentine. This one has a total damage of 298, putting it a good bump above Opportunity, which was the number 2 at 285. So this one is super good. And again, good news, once you've learned how to craft it, you can craft it as many times as you want until you get a level 4 variant. This one will be one that you have to do the Reliquary quest, which can be found over from a knight sitting relatively close by in the woods by the Sedlitz Monastery in the Kuttenberg region of the map. And all you got to do is go and look for the sword. I won't spoil the quest because Reliquary is one of the quests I quite like, but you'll end up not being able to get it, and then you'll craft it. And then, like I said, you can just craft it as many times as you want after that. But when you get it to level 4, it is the best short sword in the game. It says a perfectly authentic replica of the sword with which Knight Valentine once accompanied the Abbot of Sedlitz to the Holy Land. Has a piercing damage of 135, slash damage of 142, blunt damage of 21, defense of 242, durability of 133, and a weight of 1.8 pounds. It is just a tremendously good weapon, and coupled with the fact that, especially if you're not using a shield, if you're just using a one-handed sword and you have the right skills unlocked for it, you can kill people incredibly fast with this weapon. But that is the number 1 best. But that's all for today, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching another Dare to Game video. If you liked this video, please leave a like and a comment. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you like my content and would like to support this channel, consider becoming a member today for as little as $1.99 a month. It makes a huge difference. But in any case, thanks for watching and have a nice day. I'll see you next time.